my first opera I did, he said a very significant comment to me that I've never forgot. He said, "Don't leave your high notes in the dressing room." Meaning, don't warm yourself up so high that you get tired or overdone. Get yourself in, and you shouldn't get tired. You should just warm up and go out. But he put me into the stomach. So I'm really curious to hear where you're coming from on vocal health with support, quote.
Okay, great. Good question. At TBS, we support the phonation package. Now, let me explain quickly what a phonation package is. A phonation package is the sum total of all the technical components or technical constituents required to make a high-performance phonation. All right? Simply said, those are the technical details that me and my students and my clients are going to understand and train and get to know and get coordinated for the purpose of creating a high-performance phonation. Okay? There's a big list of them, but probably the 6 or 7 most important technical components for this high-performance phonation that we're going to use for an art form called singing, okay, are pitch, match your pitch, respiration, compression of the vocal folds, which I already spent a lot of time talking about. That's so important. Tuning the formant. Inside of tuning the formant includes the ability, larynx manipulation, dampening the larynx. Okay. Embouchure, how you shape your embouchure. Vowels, understanding vowels, knowing when to shade in and out of vowels, and understanding how vowels shift the resonant placement and therefore the sound color. And some mental issues, removing the psychosis of singing, which tends to manifest itself in the form of fear. Fear of singing in front of others, fear of the high note. So we have acoustic, physiological, and a few psychological, technical components that all come together that create what we call a phonation package. Now, your question is, Rob, how do you support the phonation package? The phonation package is supported from 2 major mechanisms. Mechanism 1 we call the vibratory mechanism or source filter, or the musculature inside the larynx, okay? Muscles, contracting muscles. The twinger, dampening the larynx, those kinds of movements. The other major source of support for the phonation package for the voice is respiration. Of these 2 major support mechanisms, the vibratory mechanism, that is squeezing the twinger, moving the muscles around in and around the larynx, is more intuitive. It's more just kind of more of a natural movement. Most people are okay with that. They can kind of do that. In fact, most people do it a little bit too much. Supporting with respiration is less intuitive. So we have to literally remind ourselves, even as professionals. We have to, sometimes I stop myself when I'm singing and I step back and say, wait a minute now, where's the wind? Let's get the wind underneath the phonation package. So we have these 2 systems. One is a little bit more intuitive, squeezing muscles, and the other one is less intuitive, respiration. So in the training experience, we tend to lead with squeezing muscles, pinching the twinger too hard. I already referred to that earlier. In particular, as we go higher in frequency, we tend to quack and pinch the twinger too hard and pull in constriction. So what we need to do is we need to learn how to back off on the vibratory mechanism, back off on the, if you will, the inefficiencies of squeezing and contracting muscles, okay, and get that mechanism back in balance with the greater efficiency of supporting the voice or the phonation package with respiration. Now, the point at where vibratory mechanism and the respiratory system meet is at the subglottal position. Okay, so we spent a lot of time talking about blowing wind and pushing good respiration, and that is true. If you come to my studio or you invest in the 4 pillars of singing, there are breathing exercises in the system that are going to teach you how to kick with the diaphragm and push out with the obliques. So I guess I'm kind of a push down and out kind of guy, but all of that is in the purpose of increasing or balancing the point of contact at the subglottal position. So the pressure of the respiration at the subglottal position, meaning below the vocal folds, submarine, below the vocal folds, at that point of contact where the wind is hitting the vocal folds, that is the key moment. And that's the position that you need to calibrate. Okay, all the other bigger extrinsic muscles, the diaphragm, the obliques, pushing down and out, the power push, all that stuff is there to facilitate the point of contact at the subglottal position underneath the vocal folds. Now, what you need to do, since everything in singing is so much about balance, as you know, David, great singing, is you need to balance the subglottal respiration phonation threshold pressure. The level of pressure at the vocal folds, at the contact point, at the subglottal position, needs to be at the right balance, checked with the level of compression of the vocal folds. So you have wind hitting the lower part of the vocal folds. You have the vocal folds not quacking or squeezing too hard. They may be just at the right level, and it's balancing the compression with the respiration that gives you beautiful sound and freedom of range and bridging and all those things. So the short answer to your question is support consists of, there's two different kinds of support: muscular support with the vibratory mechanism and respiratory support with the respiratory system. You need to be able to command and control and manage both of them. And the point of management happens at the point of contact, where the wind hits the vocal folds in the subglottal position.
Wow, excellent. I tell you what we're going to do. We'll I think we'll wrap it up as we do a lot of times, because this has been just great content and discussion. I learned a tremendous amount. I do on everyone, but now I learned a whole bunch of more technical stuff that's really going to make me think and take a look at your videos and YouTube and all kinds of your products across the board. Let me just recap for everybody who we had. Robert Lunte, the two major places you can find him. One, of course, the Vocalist Studio, but also the Modern Vocalist. And Rob, maybe you can give a quick shout-out, either a direct cell phone, an email, something if people want to get a hold of you.
Well, sure. Of course. Please do reach out to me at robert@thevocaliststudio.com. I'm available to talk to you about private training over Skype. I do Skype vocal lessons. Majority of my clients are working with me over Skype from all over the world, or you can do a training intensive in Seattle. If you're a voice coach or you're interested in creating a career as a voice coach, the TVS Certified Instructor Program is also something I would love to talk to you about. The product, the 4 Pillars of Singing, as I said, it's been sold in over 90 countries around the world. It's not a product that was completed and then I put it down and kicked my feet up and rested and that is never being improved. It's a product that's always being improved. You're always going to get the absolute latest and greatest and the best that I can possibly give to you in terms of vocal techniques and training and how to help you sing with the 4 Pillars of Singing. And so if you have questions regarding that, I'd be very excited to answer them for you. And I could go on, but I don't want to keep talking about myself. And but yeah, I'm here to help.
But that's why you're here. We wanted to highlight your teaching and what you're doing out there and how you're helping artists and trying to make the world a better place vocally, and that's the goal. So I think that today we'll wrap it up, and I just want to thank you, Rob, again for coming on and giving us your time, and thank everybody else who called to listen. You can go and find other teleseminars at superiorvocalhealth.com. If you sign up an email, they're all free for the taking. There's plenty there. Just like this, in-depth talks about vocal health and technique and diet and what to do when and where and how. And that's about it. I, as always, just want to wish everybody, including you, Rob, your best on your quest for superior vocal health. Take care.
Thank you. I'll be around. And David, thank you for this really fun opportunity to help singers and get my message out. And Benny, it was great meeting you today. I hope that you and I can work again together sometime. And thank God for people like David that help us put things together. Thank you. Good stuff.
All right,
you.
Rob. Take care.